Good evening, everyone. Engineer Pat 5290 coming to you with Model Raric Mondays, January edition of the first episode of 2023. Just would like to say Happy New Year and Merry late Christmas / Happy Holidays to everyone. Hope everyone enjoyed the holiday season. Uh, Tonight we're going to be just doing our usual for Model Raric Mondays. You're talking about model trains, the different scales, maybe even some layout plan if you have some questions about that. Even simple repairs that you might be able to do, as well as maybe some of the literature you can look at like we did the last time, which was a special edition of Model Railroad Mondays talking about model railroading the basics. If you have not looked at that one, I strongly encourage you to look at that because there's some pointers in there that are pretty good. And also for the fact that we gonna have had another live stream last night on 21st Century Model Railroad Fun. That turned out to be really good. 21st Century Railfan Fun, excuse me. That turned out to be a really good success as well. So tonight's going to be all about Model Railroad Mondays and Model Railroad stuff. And so I turn it over to you guys for questions and maybe some announcements that after or somebody's releasing. And we'll take it away from there. So the floor is now open for any of those. And we're going to lay back and we're going to have a good time. So just waiting on some people to join up and then we'll be ready to go. Right. Hey, we got a first user. Hey, what's going on, Steve? How's it going, man? How's it going, man? Great to see you on here. Great to see everybody on here so far. We're just now getting started, and we're getting ready to rock and roll. Ready Company Productions, what's going on, man? How's it going? Even to everyone, this is awesome. We got some guys up here. We're going to have ourselves a rocking good time. So go ahead and start laying on the questions, guys. You got questions? Come on down. Come on down. Let's keep this thing rolling. Come on now. So we're just really getting the heat of it going, and we're getting ready to rock and have some good times. We're going to rock and roll. Let's roll. Talking about some model railroad plans that you have, and maybe even some tips on for anybody, and even some other things that you might recommend. So the floor is now open for that. I'm going to get myself something nice and cold to drink, and I'll be right back. So keep it coming, guys. Let's get this thing started. All right, now we're ready to rock and roll here. All right. Steve says, I heard Walters has their 59-foot cylindrical hoppers in stock, especially now in the National Railroads of Mexico steam. Awesome, and thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. Tunnel motor at that. One of my favorite SP EMDs was the SD40T. Actually, is the SD40T-2. I love it in the original Southern Pacific with the red nose and the Roman lettering on the side. The speed lettering was okay, but it was definitely not my favorite scheme of the Southern Pacific. The Black Widow falls as number 2, especially on their passenger locomotives and the famous Daylight scheme. They're my top 3 favorites. The blood red, they used to say the bloody red nose. We just say the red nose with the Roman numeral lettering, and also the Black Widow and the Daylight scheme. I love the 4449. So Southern Pacific was bought by Union Pacific the year I was born, 1996, as a matter of fact. So Union Pacific has actually a little bit of sentimental here because they bought the Southern Pacific in 1996. And I've always loved the Southern Pacific, speaking of that. And I love seeing it in models like on Model Railroad Mondays and things like on Model Railroad stuff, and also on other people's layouts. And I have an SD40T-2 as well. It's in UP paint, but still, I love the SD40T-2. Ethan Conkton is one of the guys who came on last night. What's going on, man? Thanks for coming back. I assume your favorite whistle is the SP6. Well, that is a pretty whistle. Don't lie. I do love that whistle. I love the whistle. It's on the 4449. Now, you think Scaletrain should do more SD40T-2s and C39s? Yes. Yes, 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 yes. I say that 5 times because, yes, it is true. I would not mind seeing Intermountain do it again. I'd love to find one in Southern Pacific just because I love the Southern Pacific. It also looks good in the UP Armor Yellow. I've always liked the Union Pacific Armor Yellow scheme on just about anything, especially if it was like in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Oh, yeah. And even the big flag that's on that literally spans the engine compartment. I love seeing older railroads modeled. I love seeing the older power being modeled as well. Southern Pacific, as you probably have seen here, has the I believe they had the Mars light on some of their locomotives, right on the headlights up there on between the number boards, and the manufacturers have gone back and done that for that, and I think it's really cool. Scaletrains has done C39s in N scale. I know a friend of mine who's got some of them. Hey, Tammy, what's going on? Can't stay a long time from my meds and lay down. Hey, I understand. And I understand recovering from surgery is a big deal. And I understand when it's time to take meds and rest, it's what it's time for. I completely understand. Glad to see you popped on for a few minutes. Just talking about, some of the model stuff of what's happening right now, and also a little bit on my shirt here. Shadow Plays Z4002, a new user. Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going? Thanks for coming on. So, just getting back to what we were talking about earlier, I'm glad to see the SD40T-2s are modeled. Mine is Intermountain. I'll bring mine up, so for the ones who haven't seen it, can definitely take a look at this. It's a nice little model, and I was actually able to get it from a fella this past fall for a pretty good price, and the engine was new in the box from 2004. You heard me right. The unit sat in the box for 18 years and never ran. Not since it left the factory. And so I'll bring that up in a second. Shadow Plays 4002. Are you talking about a model train or the big train? Please clarify that. If you're talking about the model or you're talking about the real deal. And I'll get my SD40T-2. Hang on. And I'll show this to you all in just a second. Ethan Conkin asked, thoughts on the HK Porter 06 OS train? This is the train that Porter from Thomas the Tank Engine is based on. I watched Thomas, and that's a pretty cool locomotive nonetheless. So, yeah, wish they keep modeling that in the gauges as well. Now, Shadow Plays, if it's real deal, this is model railroad stuff only. If you want to ask model train stuff, that's fine. But if you want to ask the big stuff, you can ask on my Q&A prompt, which is a few videos back, or you can stick with the model trains. The model trains is fine, but it's just that's what we're focusing on. And Steve, thank you for confirming the rules as well. And there she is, guys. That's my little Intermountain SD40T-2. And the beautiful Union Pacific Armor yellow and gray. And the detail on this thing is wonderful. So, the detail on this thing is gorgeous. And when I talked with the fella, he told me he'd taken it a lot of places and nobody actually was interested in it. And I said, well, this is one of my favorite EMDs. Although mine is the SD40-2, but this one here is the most unique because of the back and also the way they designed the intake system. Because when these were specifically designed to go under the passes of mountains, and they redid the intake system, so when the exhaust came out and the tunnel blocked some of it, it would not clog up the locomotive. So Union Pacific had these from Rio Grande and the Southern Pacific. So Southern Pacific and the Rio Grande were the only two customers of the SD40T-2, and they were all on the Armor Yellow after the UP takeover. There are still some of those in existence today, but the SD40T-2 is still talked about some, and so is the SD45T. So yeah, but that's why I like the little SD40T-2s. This is really nice. So, and the way this comes off, easily accessible. Easily accessible. Has the split frame. It's got two flywheels, and of course the board that controls the lights, and the shell just slips right back on. Easy. Shadow Play's got to go. See you later, man. Thanks for tuning in. Ethan Congas, do you like the Bachmann Santa Fe Flyer train? Now, which one? Because there's been a bunch of them done. Are you talking about like a Super Chief set? Are you talking about a Steam set? You have to be more specific because the manufacturers have done a whole lot of them. Because Santa Fe is highly collectible among model railroad enthusiasts. And everybody knows about the classic Santa Fe F3 that Lionel did for a long time, and they are still doing that today because that is that's highly recognized by collectors, and that's one of the most iconic schemes that's ever been designed. Steve is still hoping to get a Walthers CP ES44AC. I'm pretty hyped about that too because Walthers has stepped up their game. Johnny's here. What's up, man? What's going on, man? How's the N-Scale stuff? And this guy right here, that's my friend Johnny, JJ3M M3 Railfan Productions. He collects N-Scale and also does big trains, does a little bit of O-Gauge, but he's really off into N-Scale. So glad to see you on, my man. Yeah, but N-Scale is fun. He and I are both into N-Scale. So, RDG Rails is here. What's going on, man? That's Andrew. What's going on, man? Great to see everybody on here. Man, we're rocking and rolling tonight. Keep this going, guys. So, we've been talking a lot about N-Scale a little bit and a little bit about my, a little bit of my SD40T-2 there. Going good. 42 car train day, 5-1 configuration. Nice. 5 engines and 1 on the back. Dang, go, man. Man, keep that baby going. Railfanner 122. Hey, what's up, man? How's it going? How's it going? Yeah, the recent World of Walters mainline ES44 ACs and Aces have brighter ditch lights. Oh, good. Oh, good. That's awesome to hear. For the ones of you who are joining us, who are just now joining us, I was showing my SD40T-2 here by Intermountain. For the ones of you who, actually Johnny knows that store, how I was able to get it. I talked with a gentleman. This engine had never been out of the box. It was made in 2004. New in the box, never ran since it left the factory. I brought it home, put a little bit of oil, a little bit of grease. That thing fired right up. I said to myself, holy smokes. And this thing will pull 16 cars with ease. Easy. My Kato SD70 ACE will pull 16 cars with ease. My little Bachmann GP40, that'll pull about 15 cars with ease. And but definitely really pleased with what these little engines can do. Never underestimate the pulling power of a locomotive because let me tell you something. Even the ones who may have sat new in the box for a long time, they've got their pulling power. They really do. And I was blown away. I was just blown away. And this was actually the first N-scale locomotive I've ever serviced. So, uh, so that engine holds a little place right in my heart too. Love the shirt, Pat. Thank you so much. SD40T-2, Southern Pacific, SD40T-2 and UP paint. So, yeah. For the sampling flyer, it's multicolor, expensive, and electric. It's also a complete ready-to-run set. Wow. I didn't know it was a multicolored set. Excuse me. I did not know it was a multicolored set. So, I think that sounds to be pretty cool. I have not seen the set, but I have seen a lot of other Santa Fe sets that look good, because a lot of guys have done the passenger sets, they've done freight sets. Oh, yeah. You think your N-Scale Ace and GB40 should be pulling the train? Don't know, because both of them are geared a little bit differently. Would have to do some thinking on that. I tend to run one engine at a time, because it's DC. So I try to use one engine at a time, especially when they've been in storage. I'll let them couple up to the train and let them run constantly for about a good 30 minutes. About 2 weeks ago, I pulled these out, and now I've got the older set down there. I've been just getting the engines running. All those are running great. I let them run for 30 minutes each to allow them to get some time in and just allow the gears to stay nice and greased since they've been in storage. So it's really important you run your locomotives, because if they sit a long time, the grease is going to dry out, and so will the oil, and lead to cracked gears. So definitely very, very important that you run your locomotives. Hang on one second. Turn off the fireplace. So we're all good there. So getting back to this, important to really run your locomotives. Now, rolling stock, it's good to run them anyway to allow the wheels to keep rolling. Some of the things that I do recommend when you're looking at cars, you can upgrade your wheels to metal. For mine, for N-scale, I have plastic and metal. But for HO, all of it's metal. And Johnny says, I run mine nearly every day. And every day is a good thing. Every day is a good thing, because it allows the engines to continue to get run time and allow the gears to keep moving. Especially with the grease, because once the grease is good and wet, it gives those gears superior lubrication. When that grease dries up, man, it will bind the gears up and it will break those plastic gears. So I try to run my stuff when I can. I've been running the N-scale more and more just because that's what I'm into right now at the moment. But, you know, I'll do the same with my O-gauge. I'll do some of my HO and allow them to run. And Steve says, okay, I understand, because I usually run 2 to 4 locomotives on my HO scale pulling the train while since it's standard DC. Oh, yeah, because I forgot you do DC. Some guys do DC just because it's simple. You can always upgrade to DCC whenever you want. Johnny says, I ran 5 engines in different directions on the head end and 1 in the middle today. You had a DP in the middle of the train. And Johnny's is DC as well, guys. I've looked at his layout. His layout is awesome. Yeah, he's got a little variety of locomotives in his collection as well. I mean, he's got a little bit of everything, in my opinion. But his layout is really cool, guys. His layout is really, really cool. So, I'll go and put 4483 away. Now, for the ones of you who've probably seen this a bunch of times, but there's my Kato Ace. I love this little thing. Let me tell you, this thing can pull. I found this somewhere for a pretty good deal, and the thing fired right up out of the box. It was brand spanking new. And Steve says, Athearn roundhouse locomotives work really well for DPUs on standard DC layouts. Yes, they do. Because Athearn bought Roundhouse, and they're still making that line. So that's another beginner brand if you guys are looking for one. Rennie Russell says, so far I only have a BNSF GP40-2R with some cars. Even ran Long Hood Ford at one point and do a plan of getting more stuff. Just now going to get more easy track. There you go. Work with what track you've got and expand on it. And once you expand on your track, then you can focus on your cars. Because the track is the easy part. You can get the track of whatever you need, and then from there, you can just basically find whatever cars you want and locomotives. So, and for some guys, they like to do DC to get started, and then they go with DCC. Now, for some guys with HO, they ask me, what DCC system do you recommend? Hold on, Johnny, I'll get to yours in just a second. For anybody who's looking for DCC, some guys say Digitrax is the way to go. Some guys say Easy Command Control Center is the way to go. So I've used Easy Command Control Center for 16 years. I've never had a problem with it. I have got some DC locomotives that were converted to DCC. And let me tell you something, guys. That's actually a good way to go for some engines because you have the locomotive. It just needs to be upgraded. That's all. So technically, you've already got the locomotive. You've got a majority. You've actually spent the money on the locomotive. This is just an upgrade. That's all you would have to pay for is an upgrade. Johnny says, I'm about to have a major expansion. Oh, I know what that is. I know what that is. I can't wait to see the final result. Reading Rails, RDG Rails says, I saw a Conrail SD4-2 at a shop near me, $169. That's not bad. Now, what brand was it? Was it Bachmann, Athearn, Atlas? What do you got? Kato? Just real curious. I think it was Bachmann. Southeast Beltline, haven't seen you in a while. What's going on, man? How are you? Yeah, now was that Bachmann locomotive DC, Andrew, or is this, or was it DCC? Because there is a price difference. And happy Monday to you, Southeast Beltline. So I'm glad to see a lot of you guys are on tonight. This is great. Anyways, Martin Luther King Day. Yes, it is. Thank you, RailFanner122. It was DC on that Conrail. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. For DC locomotives, I've recommended Athearn Ready to Roll. Yeah, they're pretty good. Bachmann makes a decent one. And you can always get them upgraded whenever you want to. Southeast Beltline says, I'm good. How are you? I'm doing wonderful, man. I just started sorting through some of my collection earlier today. Cannon's on. What's up, man? Great to hear from you. Glad to see you're on, man. I haven't seen him in a long time. Man, this is great seeing some users I haven't seen in a long time. This is good, guys. This is wonderful. I've been talking a lot about people's collections. I've brought out a couple of my N-scale locomotives. Just playing around a little bit. Wonder what everybody's got going on with the model train stuff, you know? What are y'all looking to do for your layouts? Things like that. Would love to hear about this. So keep it coming. I'm going to put this thing away real quick. I brought another one out, guys. I'm going to see what you all think on this brand of locomotive. This is my Southern SD7. My goal this year is to build an NSMOW set. Very cool. Guess the brand of this locomotive. I just got answer at 100 and 203 in N scale. Midnight Blue and Operation Lifesaver. Awesome. Those had to be done by Kato, am I correct? Because I know Kato's done them in HO. Did they do them in N-Scale? Awesome. Kato's good stuff, man. I love Kato. My little Kato ace, I love it. Ethan says, thoughts on the Walthers Trainline CSX locomotive. Colors are white, yellow, blue. Material is metal. Scale is HO, DC. Walthers Trainline in general is pretty good. I've got a couple of those locomotives. My GP15-1 and my GP9M. Those are good runners. That's a good starter. That's a good starter brand. The GP15-1 I upgraded to DCC. And that thing will pull a lot of cars. Those things are built pretty well. I mean, to me, it feels like a tank. You can't destroy it. And those planes are pulled pretty tough. It's got a similar Athearn motor in it. Like to get an NNW SD40S2 and a Southern SD40S2 for high hoods to increase merger into NS. Yes, a merger contest. Yes. I love merger contests. Love it, love it, love it. That's my Southern SD7. Guess the brand, guys. Look at this very, very close. If you think, let me know what you think on the brand. Okay. Think I may sell some of my rolling stock this year. Hey, I understand. And the answer is not Kato. Keep guessing. Steve said both NS 8099 and 8103. That's a pretty good. That's a present day merger contest too. Even though ES44AC was designed much later, but that's a historical merger contest in my opinion. Bachmann SD7, no. Steve says SD7 a lifelike. Yes, it is. That's a lifelike, guys. It's a lifelike. Lifelike locomotives. These are pretty good little locomotives for their time. Lifelike is still talked about. Now, Steve, did they merge it with Walthers or somebody else, or did somebody else buy them? I think they folded into Walthers. If anybody can confirm that, let me know, because that would be great. Let me go put this one away. Hang on, I'm coming back. Walthers, I think, owns them. Thanks, Steve. Okay, guys. Guess the locomotive model. It's a Southern locomotive. Think the locomotive model. JB's on. Hey, what's going on, man? How's it going? Hope you're well, too, man. Everything's going great here. Yes, F7A is the correct model. That is the correct model. Reading Rails got that one correct. Now, guess the manufacturer. And no, it is not Bachmann. No, it is not Walthers. It's an older locomotive, so you gotta think back a little bit on some of the manufacturers. This was the first N-scale locomotive that I inherited. Look at it real close, guys. Guess again. While everybody's looking at the engine, I'll look at Ethan's comment. Do you like the U.S. Army Express train? HO scale colors are black, yellow, white, and camo. Also, America's flag on the side. Yes, that is a cool set. I wish I knew N-scale better. It's okay. That's why we have streams. We learn from each other. We learn from each other. Try again, guys. Try again. Is it an Athearn? No. Athearn is spelled A-T-H-E-A-R-N. Look at it real close, guys. It's an older locomotive. Keep guessing, guys. It's okay. Keep guessing. No, it is not Lionel. Lionel did not do N-Scale. It is not Broadway. Steve got it again. It is Lifelike. It is Lifelike. It's another Lifelike. And this thing is actually pretty heavy for an N-Scale locomotive. The Lifelikes have some weight to them, and they're good pullers. They usually pull about a dozen cars. A dozen cars is pretty good for a Lifelike of its age. But that was a Lifelike, and man, for some, I think a couple of you I was a little bit tricky there, but this is a good little runner too. Now, I don't do very many steam engines in any scale, but this guy. This is my Santa Fe 484 Northern. Let me turn it around. I'm trying to get a way you can grip it. Now, guess the brand. This one might be pretty easy to get. I recently inherited this one from a good friend of mine, and this thing pulls pretty nice. It'll pull 16 cars with these. You feeling a little steamed up? No, I'm good, bro. I'm good. I'm just in a pretty good mood tonight. But guess the brand on this, guys. Guess the brand. No, it's not Lifelike. I know what it's made by. Let's see if any of you guys know. There you go, Steve. There you go, Steve. Oh, this is going to be good. I learned about Steve better when I worked at Main Street Station. So, yeah. That's where I learned a lot of my steam engines back in the day. Here it is, guys. Take a real good look. Who do you think it's made by? I used to write it a long time ago. Oh, wow. Very cool, man. Very cool, man. So, but this is my only N-Scale steam locomotive. It's a standard locomotive, but guess the brand on it, guys. Steve knows. So definitely take a guess. Is the whistle of an ACS of 6-ton, and is it Kato? No, this one is standard DC, so there's no sound. And it's not Walthers. It's a brand that's been around for probably a little over 200 years. They do O scale, they do N scale, they do HO, and they also do large scale. Here's a clue. They own Williams. They own Williams. That's your clue. Got no clue on it. Steve, go ahead and let it rip. Let it rip. Now, I am surprised y'all don't know who manufactured it. Does it start with K? No. No. Does not start with K. It starts with B. They own Williams. Before Steve... Oh, it's Bachman. Okay, I was getting ready to say... they own Williams, so it's Bachman. It's from the Bachman. That's the way we say it. But yeah, this is my only N-scale steam locomotive of this thing. Right back. Now let's see here. Would have never gotten that. Hey, I understand. But I need to get more familiar with their products in general. Well, Bachman has a pretty good website that you can go on and take a look at. They have a wide variety of products. They've got HO, they got N-scale, O-gauge, and they do some large scale as well. Thoughts on the Linear John Deere GP38 freight set? Yes, that's a pretty set. And I have the MPBL. Yes, I remember when Bachman came out with that engine. I almost bought it one time. I almost bought it. But I never got it. I just never got it. But that was a pretty engine that they did. I really wish it had sound in it. If it had sound in it, I would buy it. Absolutely, I would buy it. And I've seen the real deal. I've seen 5260 in real life, so it's a pretty locomotive. But Bachman has a really good website that you can. I have to convert that. Are you talking about converting it to DCC? Because I think the engine came DCC on board from the factory. At least that's what my thought came. Oh, you have to convert it to DCC, so they must have done a DC version. I forgot about that. But now here's a question on a piece of rolling stock. Now, this is going to be pretty cool too. Let me give you a little bit better view here. It's a Southern Gondola, but guess who manufactured it? I'm ready to take answers now. Oh, it was DC, but not DCC ready. Okay. Those actually can be converted. I think they have to be hardwired, I think. But I would recommend taking it to a licensed technician to do that. Because that involves some pretty serious wiring, I think. I don't remember. But take a guess on who manufactured this gondola. It is actually not Athearn. It's not Athearn. And it is not Bachman. It's not Walthers or Cato. This is a company that is not too talked about anymore. They do HO and they have done N-scale. They actually still produce some N-scale stuff. And you can find these a little bit everywhere. They're pretty lightweight, which I like about them. And they actually ride better than I expected. I've only owned 3 pieces of N-scale from this company, and I also have 1 piece in HO scale that's manufactured by them too. I will take another couple of 3 guesses, and we'll try again. So keep it coming, guys. Look at it real close. So Take another guess, guys. Take another guess. It's okay. Don't be scared. All right. All right. The guess on this one, you're not going to believe it. Model Power. M-O-D-E-L, Power. Nope, it is Model Power. Model Power. Now, Lifelike has produced HO and N-Scale. I have quite a number of Lifelike cars in N-Scale, and of course the locomotives. But Lifelike is good. Even Model Power is good. Never would have gotten that. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, Model Power is not talked about very often anymore. They are out there some, but a lot of manufacturers don't talk about them often. So I'll go ahead and put this back real quick. We'll talk more some trains in a minute. All right. One more car, and then we'll take a little bit of a break from this. It's my Union Pacific coal liner. Who do you think it's made by? Something telling me he's going to make us guess on everything. No, this is the last one for a while, guys. I wish Scale Trains would do X-Conrail NS SD 40-2s. Agreed. All right, one last one, guys. Take a guess. Take a guess. Look at it real close. It is not Bachmann. The UP gondola is an Athearn. Athearn N-Scale. Sure is. I have 2 Athearn cars in my N-Scale collection. And they ride superior. I've loved Athearn and HO, and I love Athearn and N-Scale. Definitely pretty good. So that's enough of the guessing. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and talk about a few more trains. Got to roll out. Hope it was great watching the stream. Hope it finishes off okay. Thanks, Ethan. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, man. So, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed the guessing games. Trying to just keep everybody a little active here on the stream here. So, we'll continue to talk about some other trains. And any questions you may have, guys, come on. Keep bringing the questions. We've been in this about 43.5 minutes. We're going to keep this going on for a little while, and we're going to keep on rocking. So come on down, guys. Hey, Pat, this is Joel. Got to go to work now. Hope you have a great night. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. It was nice to see you. Nice to see you again, too, bud. Come back anytime, brother. So, getting back to this, guys, we'll continue to talk about some more trains and stuff. But this is definitely something that's been pretty good tonight. So, keep this coming. Keep this coming. So what's tonight's snack of choice for you, Pat? I don't know. I don't know. I actually ate my snack before I even got on. I actually had dinner just a little bit about an hour ago. So I'm pretty much full up for tonight. So, excuse me. So yeah, tonight I'm just gonna sit back with ice cold ginger ale and enjoy this. So yeah. So, I'm glad I got double pay for the working on the New Year's Day so I can get some more HO trains. I know that's a good feeling, Steve. I know that for a fact, buddy. I know that for a fact. Wow. That is good. That is good, man. Save up your money, and plus you may want to buy something down the road. Joey Moore. Hey, it's your pets, Nicholas. What do you say, Nicholas? What's up, man? Glad to see you're on. It's Johnny's brothers on. This is great. Man, I had brothers on tonight. This is wonderful. Man, that's the first time it's happened on this stream, too, man. This is wonderful. Man, I am just happy. I am just happy. So, we're just sitting back talking model trains and stuff, and throw in any questions that you may have. I know, Nick, your brother's been talking about his N-scale stuff. He's got a pretty cool N-scale trains layout there. He ran like 5 locomotives on the train today, which I thought was pretty cool. I said to him, "That's probably every car you have." He said, "Well, I had a few left, but it was a really monster train." I said, "Man alive. Man alive," is all I could say. Whew. Reading Rail says, "The face you just had made it look like you hit the jackpot." Oh, Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Thank you. I appreciate the kind words, my man. But like I said, I'm just happy. It would be funny if I did win the jackpot, okay, guys? Joey Moore's on. Bob Vale is in the house. What's going on, man? What's going on? I got the whole Moore family in the stream. This is great. I love it. Yes. Oh, I love this already. This has made my night. This is wonderful, guys. This is wonderful. Ready Company Productions is still on. You're fine, bud. Don't worry about it. I'm glad you're having fun. It's nice to see everyone enjoying tonight. Yes, and I would like to piggyback on what Matt just commented. Yes. I just want to say thank you all so much for tuning in right now. I really do appreciate it. Wouldn't want to be doing anything else. Hey, I understand. After a long day at work, you just want to just kick back and relax. But your son's been running his trains, Mr. Moore, and he's been keeping posted on those N-scale stuff, and he loves running those things. And I understand fishing's one of your hobbies too. And I used to fish a little bit when I was much younger. So I remember those days. Steven just asked me, "Do you think you'll get some Scale Trains products?" I'm not sure. But I have looked at some of their stuff, and they're pretty good. And I hear for N-scale, speaking of N-scale, they do pretty well with N-scale. Scale Trains, I believe, has done the C39. I got a friend of mine who owns a couple of those, and they do pretty well. So, yeah, Mr. Moore's son is in N-scale, and Johnny collects a little bit of everything as far as power goes. A little bit of Kato, a little bit of Atlas, a little bit of Lifelike. He's done a little bit of Bachmann, a little bit of Atlas, a little bit of everything as far as the manufacturers go. And it's pretty cool because every manufacturer is a little bit different. But with N-scale, some of the drives are very similar. It's not identical, but it is similar. And Mr. Moore asked me some time ago what his son's layout was, and I said, well, what he has is DC, which is just direct current, which means the simple basic runner. There's no sound, but you can control it going forward and reverse. And that's what Johnny has. And a lot of guys go DC on their layout for N-scale because it's just simple. Excuse me. And with the DC on the N-scale, you put on the track, plug up the transformer, and you're good to go. They're basically indestructible. And they're built like tanks, so you can't destroy them. I've had good luck with N-scale stuff. I got into it just over a year ago. And actually, it has been a year. I've been into N-scale for a year. And it's been a really good move because I've now collected 4 gauges. I have N-scale, HO, O gauge, and G gauge. But I love working with all the different gauges because every one of them is designed differently and the feel to them is different. I've gotten into N-scale stuff and I absolutely love playing with it. Not to say I don't love HO, O gauge, and G, but it's a different feel. So, just wanted to get on with that a little bit. But with N-scale, Bachmann Easy Track is the way to go. It snaps together, it's good track, and plus it has that road bed that's right there on the track as well, so you don't have to ballast it, which is a good thing, because Bachmann takes care of that for you. I've used Bachmann Easy Track for 16 years. I've never had a problem with it. The simple wiring is good. You plug in one wire, hook one wire to the transformer, and you're good to go. I've had a lot of guys go with that. They love it. And the good thing is with some of this, you know, they take the fun stuff and they make it simple for you so you can understand it. When I got my HO set back in 2007, it took me a little bit to figure out how it all worked, but I just kept playing with it and figured it out. And before you know it, I was expanding, and then I just started learning more and more and more, which I absolutely love that. Because with model railroad stuff, and even with the railfan stuff, you can learn a whole lot. So, yeah. So, keep this coming, guys. We're going to continue this for another little bit because this is going on really, really well. And you're stuck, ask a question. Because let me say this, somebody might be able to help. We've got guys who collect model trains on here. We've got guys who are working on plans, things like that. So please ask questions, guys. Please ask questions. So, B&B Railroad, I haven't seen you in a while. What's up, man? Hope you're doing well, man. Happy New Year to everybody, by the way, if I didn't say it already. Happy New Year. What's going on, man? Haven't seen you up here in a while. So we've been talking a lot about model trains tonight and talked a lot about N-scale. So, yeah. Some people have asked me in the past, you know, in general, are N-scale cars designed the same or are they designed a lot differently? In the process of expanding and redoing the layout, awesome. What are you doing? Are you... Remind me what scale you do. You do HO, N scale, G gauge, S gauge. What do you have? If you can elaborate on that, that'd be good. N scale cars, they're designed 2 different ways. The truck is separate from the coupler, which means on the frame there's a little coupler pocket. And there are some that actually have the whole wheels, the truck, and the coupler as one unit, where you just pull the pins out, put the new trucks on, push the pins back in, and you're good to go. Now, be mindful, there are some small parts. So I would recommend doing it over a bench or doing it over carpet. Yes. Yes. Johnny and Nicholas's mother just had a birthday, guys. Her birthday was this past Friday. Please wish her happy birthday. Thank you. I do appreciate it. Southeast Beltline says, I want to build a layout section this year, just not sure what to do yet. All right. Now, Southeast Beltline, you do HO scale, correct? And BMB does HO scale, expand from 4x8 to 8x16. Wow, you're doubling the size. That's good. Hope Walters does 4006 for KCS. I second that. And Southeast Beltline does HO. Okay. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I want to lay out Reading and Northern. Oh, wow. So that's one that's right near your hometown. Hey, I know guys who've done that before, too. And some guys have done freelance. Freelance is cool, but I'll tell you right now, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work because you're designing your own scheme. You're designing a lot of things. With me, I like seeing locomotives on, to collect locomotives that are the ones I've seen in real life or ones that are unique. Move up a little bit. And I have definitely done that before, like NS911. I've seen that one in real life. 3329, the Marcellin unit, actually was the local engine in my hometown for a while in that paint. And I remember seeing it as a little boy. Just to name a few. NW 920 at GP18. That's a unique locomotive that's not talked about much on the Norfolk and Western. And I can go on for days, but there are, like the SD40T-2 and N-Scale. That's a unique locomotive. You think Bachmann and Belgium should do Reading and Northern 100-ton hoppers? Yes. Now, Southeast says, I have a ridiculously huge, large rolling stock collection. I'm thinking about doing an engine shop with maybe an industry nearby and a main running through. Okay. You can have a main running right by the shop, well, the yard area, I should say. And you can have an industry behind everything. And doing an engine shop, that's pretty cool because what you can do, you can actually make it out of scrap wood, out of your wood bin in your shop. I actually did a replica of one time when my layout was in my living room, temporarily so I could get the bottom deck of my layout done, and I had the shop there, and I just kept that building there. So what I did was I took some 1x6 a plywood cover for the roof, and I also made a sign for the where the shop is. Weathered the inside with a little bit of aerosol paint, and got 4 LED lights and stuck them up there with some, I believe with some glue or some Velcro, and I was able to light up each bay. So that's what I did. And that's a good idea. Oh, thank you. And I just designed it in my head. I pictured how a real life structure was built. I pictured it in here, and I just did it. The lights, I thought I was going to have to go and get all sorts of wiring. No, you don't. I got the lights from the dollar store for $1 each that require 3 AAA batteries. I had the triples. The only thing I had to do was just stick them up there and just let it roll. So it was actually pretty cool just because I had all the wood at home. I made the paint at home because I took some black and some white and made gray out of it. I think it was 1 part black and 1 part white and mixed it up because I didn't have any gray paint with me. So I just used something that I have and mixed it up. So to build the structure, it didn't cost me any extra. The only thing it cost me there was just some time to put it together, get the materials together. That's all. I have some sales I want to use. The old brand, the old brand, I can't remember the name. Was it BLMA or is it somebody else? Yes, BLMA. Yes, BLMA was sold out to Atlas. And I have 2 Top Guns from them in N scale and one HO hopper that was made by them. I remember when BLMA was on the market. I do remember. I think that was the only car they ever manufactured, and I was so sad because I almost picked one up one day. Then I was able to find some, and those Top Guns look good in BLMA from BLMA, and I wish Atlas would redo those because that is a car that is still widely talked about, and that was a very successful a Roanoke Shops rebuild by Norfolk Southern. That was a very successful rebuild project. And I wish BLMA was still around too. Yes, 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 yes. So keep it coming, guys. We're going to continue this for another little bit. So please continue to ask questions. Yes, those Top Guns are great. I was really fortunate to get a few of them. Yeah, and I'm really glad that some of the collectors had them on their layouts. I finally was able to find one in HO, and that one was really hard to find. That took me a while to find the one that I've got. So, yeah. I weathered two of them, but I stopped after the production ended. Yeah, that was really sad when they stopped making those. I really, 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 really wish that I really wish they continued making those. So, keep it coming, guys. We've been just a little over an hour with this, and we're going to keep this going up here for another little bit. So please continue to ask questions, and hopefully somebody can help. Atlas has some, but they aren't as detailed as the BLMA version. Yeah, and I understand that, and plus, I know Atlas got Weaver. Weaver sold out to Atlas, and they've actually used some of the Weaver tooling on some of their cars as well. Uh, that I thought that was kind of cool, and plus MTH sold out part of it to Atlas, and I think Scale Trades, and I think Lionel got some of it too. I didn't know I didn't get the Boma BLMA reefer car that I wish I got. Yes, I forgot they did reefers. There weren't too many cars that they did, but BLMA is not talked about very often anymore because some people forgot that they some people forgot they existed. So BLMA is not talked about much anymore. Varney is not talked about much anymore. Lifelike is still talked about some, and Roco is another brand that's not talked about much, and so is Revell. Revell actually did some model trains back, I think in the 50s and 60s, but they mostly stuck with the model kits like cars and trucks and the blimp kits. But Revell, I'm not sure if Revell could be up with the competition that was out there at the time. Recent purchase Athearn Genesis with sound SD60E diesel engine 911. Hey, I got that engine too. That's my favorite SD60E. This is one bad engine. In a good way or a bad way? Because the engine I have, I love my 911. I've had zero problems with it. The one thing I had to do was replace a coupler on it, and that was it. And the box it's packaged in is highly collectible. Good way? Yes. I love the sound of the K5LA on the thing because they nailed every single sound on that thing. They nailed it. There's a lot of, Southeast Beltline says there's a lot of brands that are starting to fade from the collections. I hope there's a few more to start engine with. NS Model 24 started his own brand a while ago. Wow, do you know what brand that is by chance? Just curious. Some brands fade away, but then they all of a sudden come back. Roundhouse is not talked about often since Athearn bought the line. Roundhouse is not talked about much anymore. Markland is talked about some, and so is Hornby. Hornby is pretty good too. Crosstown Models, I believe, is the name. Oh, wow. I will look into that. Thank you very much. I will definitely take a look into that one. Take a look into that brand. Hornby had a great version of all the Thomas the Tank engines. I was reading about that too, yeah. And plus, they've done a bunch of the British stuff too. And SMT Mainline can tell you a bunch about the Hornby stuff. I think it's pretty cool. So Hornby has talked about some. SMT Mainline can definitely tell you a whole bunch about that. Excuse me. So we'll continue this for another little bit, guys. So please continue to ask questions, and maybe something else I can help you with. I wish the trade shops and clubs weren't fading too. Yeah, I understand that. But I'll tell you right now, the hobby is still thriving. I'll tell you that much. The hobby is really thriving. There's a lot of interest with model trains. It just turned around all of a sudden, and a lot of the younger guys I've noticed are really interested in the hobby, and I think it's wonderful. So, yeah. Thoughts on the Aurora Miniatures SD60F? Now, I've never heard of the Aurora Miniatures. Now, is this Steve H.O. or is this N-Scale? As I've never heard of Aurora Miniatures. Fixing to get off on here and watch the Dallas Cowboys get the brakes beat off and see them. See you on the next one, bro. Thanks. Good to see you there, bro. Steven says H.O. I can picture that being a very pretty model. The SD60F is not talked about very often. Excuse me. And I believe Canadian National was the only buyer of the SD60F. Definitely a unique model there for sure. And even the Dash 8M would be really good to be modeled in HO too. I would be really curious to see what that's going to be about. Oh, yeah. So, Rapido is doing another run of the Dash 8Ms. Oh, good. I have yet to even collect anything Rapido or Tangent. Tangent's not talked about much either. Tangent's out there, but not mentioned much. They're going to make that MOW a goal for the year. Hey, there you go. Set a goal for yourself. I think that's great. You know, you do it on your time and on your budget, and that's definitely understandable too. So, yeah. Do all these other brands have Instagram? I need to follow and keep up more. Well, Steve KC might know this too. I'm trying to think of who else has got an Instagram. I know a bunch of them have Facebook. I know a bunch of them have Facebook and they have YouTube channels. I know Bachman has a YouTube channel. Athearn has a YouTube channel. So that's where I would start. Would love to get a BC Rail Dash 8M and HO. Yeah, that would be a really pretty model to get in HO. Yeah, Scale Trains, Bachman, Athearn, etc. have Instagrams. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. I appreciate you confirming this. So, we're going to go ahead and take a few more questions, and we're going to end this up here in just a few minutes. So, Yeah, so we're going to continue to take a few more questions, but we're going to start to wind down a little bit. Okay, I'll have to go subscribe. I may add some of my mono progress to my YouTube page as well, along with the trips. Definitely do it because one thing is for sure, if a big company has a YouTube page, definitely subscribe to it because they'll give you the news of what's happening, what's going to be released, and they may throw tips in there every once in a while. Uh, I tell you, I've looked at a lot of YouTube stuff over time. It's good and helpful, and it's one of the good sources for mono rarity. Is definitely some of the sources that you can get. So we're going to go ahead and take a few more questions here, then we will call it a night. Yeah, even if I'm real life, the stat sheets and we're getting retired. Perfect model for rarity. Yes, I agree with Steve here. That's a really good model, and that's definitely a model that's not talked about much. Outside of MPPO, do you have any other local-based model locomotive or rolling stock? No, I don't. Well, the RF&P, if you consider that local, because that's the line that landed from Richmond to DC. I do Southern, Santa Fe, Norfolk Western, Norfolk Southern, a little bit of CSX, little bit of Union Pacific, um, and I heard Rapido is adding the double ditch lights for the new tool. Yes, yes, that's awesome. Yes, definitely local heritage for RF&P. Yes, the RF&P Railroad, to get us outside of the box a little bit, is definitely not talked about much anymore. A lot of people forget that RF&P existed. The RF&P was all EMD. They were all EMD. GP35s, GP40s, GP40-2s, E8s, they had those. They had a whole bunch of EMDs. I have a Top Gun 25K, but I want an RF&P. Yeah, RF&P is not modeled often. I've wanted to find an RF&P engine in HO. I've always wanted to find one, but I have not had any luck. Yes, they are not mentioned enough. Yes. They have an RF&P locomotive in Dillwyn. Yes. That is the last RF&P engine in existence. Speaking of the big trains, but I will tell you, RF&P is not modeled often. RF&P 101, I believe it's a Jeep 7, and has actually been preserved and is the last actual operating RF&P engine in existence. And the one in Hartwell, Georgia, I think is a slug unit. No, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. I know what you're talking about, Johnny. I believe it's a GP35. So I don't know if that engine is operational. I have an RF&P boxcar, and it's one of the few I won't ever sell. Yes, if you have anything RF&P, guys, hang on to it. Because let me tell you, RF&P is definitely not appreciated enough. I love the RF&P. I love the RF&P. I know somebody who worked for them. And let me tell you something. They had that was a really cool railroad because they interchanged with everybody. They interchanged with everybody. They interchanged with the Southern, Pensy. They interchanged with Seaboard, Atlantic Coastline. And I believe they interchanged with the SAL as well. So, yeah. The little choo-choo shop in Carolina had a locomotive. I wish I'd gotten it. I've been in that store a bunch of times. That's a good store. Dale's train station in Norfolk is another good store. I have a RF&P Walters boxcar. I've got one that's AccuRail. I hope everybody knows AccuRail. AccuRail is not talked about often. They mostly do the rolling stock. They also do rolling stock kits. I have one piece of AccuRail, and it's that RF&P boxcar. I love the RF&P. So, yes, I definitely love the RF&P. Yes, Dale's is one of my favorite local stores. Yes, Dale's is still around. That's a really good store. Ferromex locos are hard to find now. Steve hit another good point. Yes, I have noticed that too. Ferromex is not talked about often, at least in the modern railroad industry. Dale's is one of my favorites as well. Johnny can second me on that one. That one and Little Choo Choo are my go-to stores. Those are my go-to stores. I love going to both of those stores. Turn my fireplace back on a little bit. So, yeah, guys, if you ever have a local train store wherever you live, guys, please support the local train stores. Because let me tell you something. They're really good, and plus they're run by local families. If you can find anywhere in the model railroad hobby that's locally run, go in there because it's awesome. Because let me tell you something, it's the only one. It's run by family, and if you support a local family and a local business, that's actually a really good thing. Rouse was one of my favorite stores. He had ACL passenger cars. I need to finish that set one day. He was a local for a very long time. Okay, now who was Ralph? What store did he own? Just curious. Ralph and Dale are the reason I started collecting. Yeah, I understand. Um, I was in the trains when I was 3. Um, my dad and my mom built a layout here in 1999, and uh, we had actually a store in Suffolk called Mike's Trainland, and that store closed when I was 2. And since I was 3, I've been going into Dale's, and Dale's just allowed me just to keep coming back. And plus, I've gone to stores over time and gone to train shows and things like that. But Davis Hobby Supply, yes, I know I remember that name. I plan to get a Fearmans ES44, an ACE, or an AC44, despite the Fearmans AC44s are limited to Mexico in real life. I see Fairmax a lot. I imagine you do. Yes, I like Mike's Trainland as well. Yes. That was a really good store back in Suffolk back in the 70s and 80s. That was a really good store. And even up until the late 90s, that was a really good store. Some of the pieces I have on my O-scale layout came from Mike's. My diesel locomotive that I run a lot of the time, that Milwaukee Jeep 9, came from Mike's. And it's still running today. So, oh yeah. They have all of Mike's trains at the Portsmouth Museum. Yes, I've seen them, but it has been an awful long time. So guys, we're going to continue the stream for another 5 minutes, and then we will call it a night. So I'll take any last little bit of questions that you may have, and then we will continue to wind this down. Steve says, I'd be amazed if Walters did Furamex, the ES44s, and the Aces, and the Zebra scheme. I will have to say, Steve, I prefer the red, white, and green. I prefer the red, white, and green just because I'm used to it. The Zebra scheme is not bad. It almost looks like the old Zebra stripe scheme from the CN days back in, I want to say the 90s, because the 60Fs had it, some of the EMDs had it, but see, that's a scheme that's still talked about some, the Zebra scheme of CN. So, yeah. So it's the last time I visited Seaboard Station. What to do with the layout? Oh, wow. If you want to, Southeast Beltline, send me a private message on that if you will, please. That'd be much appreciated. So, we're going to continue this for just another couple of minutes, and then we'll die it down. So, should Rapido do more F40s? Yes, and same with Kato. I have to say, Kato's done a really good rendition of it. I would love to see Rapido do it. Walters, I believe, did a rendition of it a while back as well. So, definitely something pretty good. Definitely something pretty good there. So, another couple of minutes on this, guys, and we'll end it out. This has been really good, guys. This has been really good. So, all right. So as we line down the last couple of minutes of the stream, just wanted to say thank you all very much for tuning in to Model Railroad Mondays. I apologize that it was late. Brock Hershey comes in. What's up, man? Do you like some... hang on a second, guys. She tried to an ESHR locomotive. Eastern Shore Railroad. Yes! That later became the Bay Coast Railroad. That's a really good scheme you could do. Now, that's something that's not talked about, is the Eastern Shore Railroad. Unfortunately, that company actually went under in 2018, and the Buckingham branch got part of it, and they're continuing to run the old Eastern Shore Railroad / Bay Coast Railroad. And they're working to get things back up and running. We still have quite a number of people on here. I was getting ready to end the stream, but we can definitely continue this for another few minutes. So we've had some people come on. I'm going to give everybody a little bit more time to ask some questions. So guys, keep this going. I heard they went under and it's sad. Yes, I do agree on that. That was a really cool operation. I only got to see the GP15-1 one time, and that was it. I want to model the Norfolk Yard. Yes, that would be so great if somebody can model that. Oh my goodness, that would be so great if somebody could actually model it. Hopefully Athens does the Admiral Cab 38-2s. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I would love for somebody else to do the Admiral Cab 40-2s. That might be a goal right there to do that yard. That's a good one. That's a good one. And plus, with model railroad stuff, guys, you can actually get very, very, very creative. Scale Train said they have no plan doing GP38-2s. Man, that is insane. I know Athens done it, Atlas has done it, Bachman's done it. But I am really surprised at that. Johnny said they need to get the BB someday in Norfolk. Yeah, that's actually a unique catch to get, but it's extremely hard to get. About Admiral Cabs, Scale Trains does do the Admiral Cab 40-2s for HO. Yes, they've done a really good rendition of those. And that was an Altoona-designed cab. Norfolk Southern designed that one and the Crescent cab. That was done at Altoona, where they went in the design room, made blueprints, and then they were actually able to do it. But that's a really cool cab because they went back to an EMD design cab, except where the two middle windows go straight down. There is an angle right there. They angle down at a 45 where the engineer can actually look down to see what's below. That's definitely a pretty good design on Norfolk Southern's end. And I thought that was really cool. They designed their own stuff in-house, had it made, brought it back over, and look what it's done for them. All the ex-Southern SD 40-2s were rebuilt with the Admiral Cab. Some of the ex-NWs were rebuilt with it. A few GP 38-2s. And now, the SD 40-3s. The Commonwealth Rail old scheme, that's FC7, that was a CF7, that would be great heritage unit for local model railroading. Yes, it was a red and gunmetal gray scheme. And it was a really cool locomotive to see too. Hope Scale Trains does CSX 8888 for rivet counter. Yes, crazy 8s. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's definitely something pretty good. So, we're going to continue this some more, guys. This has been really good. Questions keep coming in. Comments keep coming in. So definitely keep this going. I'm going to grab me some more ginger ale. I'll be right back. Keep it coming, guys. This is great. Steve just asked, do you have an O-scale Searchlight car? I actually have one. It's a Spotlight car, but if that counts for it, yeah. The ACL line is now banned, so it was on my list. The chemical plant on the other side of the Commonwealth is a great industry to model. Yes, I actually know that track. That was the ACL branch line right there. Really good one to model. But my Spotlight car is a Lionel, and it actually is a Frisco, St. Louis, San Francisco Railroad, known as Frisco, which later folded into the Burlington Northern, which now all of that is under BNSF. Searchlight, Spotlight car, same thing. Perfect. And I actually used that on the track scene where they're actually working on the track. And when the lights go out, you can definitely see the lights shining for the crew to actually help them see. Didn't know Frisco was in Florida. I learned that recently. St. Louis, San Francisco Railroad in general, that one is not modeled much. And neither is the railroad is not talked about very often. So the St. Louis, San Francisco had a red and white scheme. It said Frisco on the side. That was a Western railroad. Now, Johnny asked a question for the group. Has anyone used a Tomix track clean car for N-Scale? Calling all N-Scale users. Has anybody heard of Tomix track cleaning car? As I think Johnny just got one. Any help with that's appreciated. Okay, Southeast Beltline says he hasn't. I've actually never heard of the company, but I've looked at them on the internet. They look to be pretty cool. I'm just laying back a little bit so I can rest my back a little bit. But I think it's kind of cool. It almost looks like a Loram car, like it's going down the track a little bit, you know, grinding the rails or cleaning the rails, whatever. I think it's kind of cool. And plus, one day when you're just, you know, working on your trains, you can take the little train and just slowly creep that thing along the track, get everything clean. Oh yeah, it's just like a real cool operation. A vacuum as well, nice. That'll come in handy, especially if there's any like loose pieces of paper towel around there too. It'll suck it right up. Had some comments come in. My grandfather had an O-gauge track cleaning unit. Lionel, yes, they had a good one. Still wonder when will scale trains do AC6000s. Same here. His has a rail grinding disc. Wow. Very cool. Very cool. So that's kind of cool. Lionel has done quite a number of those in the years past. And those are cool, and you can have fun working on the trains and allow the track cleaner to do the work for you. I'd love to see a Loram railguard done in model rarity. That's something I don't think has ever been modeled. That would definitely be something for anybody to look into, because I'll tell you, that would be some kind of cool. I think everybody would love to see that. So, uh, but yeah, that would be something really cool to see. Lionel did the CSX, OCS 1 and 2, and some of the cars. Yes, they did. Yes. And I'm sure Eric's Trains was well aware of that. Eric's Trains is Eric Siegel on YouTube. His name is Eric Siegel, but his layout is the Appalachia and Western layout, which has taken at least 16 years in the making. If you've not subscribed to his channel, excuse me, go on YouTube and search Eric's Trains. He posts a lot of cool stuff. I have followed him since the beginning. His is a really cool layout. Does a lot of product reviews and pretty much anything else you can think of. He does a really good job. He does a really good job, and I tell you, he's awesome. Steve says, yeah, if done like an HO, the bottom grinder lights up like in real life. Yes, that would be legit if they can make it happen. So, well, guys, it is 8:30 Eastern Time. We're going to go ahead and end the stream right here. It has definitely been a good one. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This was absolutely a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do it again for the month of February. So hit the subscribe button, tap the bell to get the notifications on everything that's happened, and I will see you guys soon. RailFanner122, thank you so much for tuning in. Steve and RCP, thank you guys so much. Johnny and your brother and your dad, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. This is a really good one. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next run. Thank you guys. May God bless. And happy model railroading, guys.